Welcome back. Here with me today are a group of beef producers sharing their insights, concerns, and ideas about challenges and opportunities in today's beef industry. And you know, we talked a lot about growing the cow herd, how we're going to increase foreign demand and certainly domestic demand, but here's a question I want to ask, and John, I'll pose it to you. You're close to this issue. What about the issues that create barriers for us, like traceability, of getting into those export markets?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, and it's a great issue, a great question. You know, when we look at the consumer, whether it be here domestically or globally, we have to face the reality. They want to know more about their food, and part of that is where it comes from. And so if we look at other products, even in the protein marketplace, they're way ahead of us. You know, if you go get a vegetable in your grocery store, there's a barcode on it and it tells you where it came from. And they didn't do that just because they felt like it's right. They did that because that's what the consumer is asking for. And from a global perspective, we don't have access, the beef industry doesn't have access to many markets because we don't have a traceability system. And that is table stakes for a global marketplace. And so we find ourselves at a disadvantage. We maybe have the best, highest quality, safest product in the world, but because our country doesn't have a traceability system, and our industry, I'm a bit critical of our own industry that we haven't had the foresight to create one and put one in place, that we are not able to play in those markets and thereby can't really take advantage of the demand we need to pay attention to with our product. We just can't play there.
Kevin, is this truly an issue, or is it just an excuse some trading partners are using for not wanting to take our beef? How fundamental do you think it is to the growth in export markets?
It's a fact of life into the future. Whether you agree with it or not, future trade agreements and access to our success and access into other countries is going to require some sort of traceability. And we can manage what that is, but the fact is we're going to have some sort of traceability in order for us to be successful in growing our demand across the world. And so as a rancher, we've chosen to have trace back on all our animals. We know when we sell our animals, there will be capability of having a trace back, which gives us and my family the opportunity to move into foreign markets and get premiums. And I'd like to encourage my fellow ranchers to consider that, because that's where our success is going to lie in future generations.
John, you feed a lot of cattle. Nobody understands value-added cattle better than you. Tell me about the composition of our cattle. I hear that we've had more choice grading cattle over the last year or two than we had in a long time. What's your sense of the quality of cattle we're putting into the marketplace?
You know, from our perspective, we've enhanced the quality of the cattle. I think that we've done a better job focusing on good genetics. There's still more to be done. We've done a better job focusing on good animal health and good animal nutrition. We can do better, but these kinds of things have really attributed, we look at, to the result that you reference. I think also when you look at the economies of our pricing structure, we have cattle now where we've got a market, let's say the market's $1.35, and to put a pound of gain on costs 70 cents. So we're gonna be encouraged to feed those cattle a little longer, and I think that's part of it also, that the more pounds we put on, we actually, those are an efficient way to enhance that margin that I was referencing earlier. So it's a combination of things, Kevin, that I think that result in the fact that we have an increase in quality grade across the industry, but genetics is part of it, animal health is part of it, and the markets are part of it.
I want to pick up on your comment about size of cattle, because I ask a lot of people, you know, what size should my cows be and where are we headed in this thing? Clearly, we had 930-pound carcasses in October. We've killed some pretty heavy cattle. I think all of us would suggest we got them a little too heavy, but most people still say we're going to have 1,450-pound kind of live cattle. What are you doing in your cow-calf operation relative to the traits you're focusing on to create a product that is acceptable to John and also to the end consumer?
Right. Well, you know, as a cow-calf producer, you work really hard to get return on that cow, and the most efficient cow is obviously going to be the easiest to return on, right? So a smaller cow that might eat less, but ideally she's weaning way more pounds. So we all study how many pounds are we getting weaned per cow exposed, and you know, ideally you wean at a reasonable time for that cow, so she has plenty of time to breed back, or you know, to regroup herself before she calves again, etc. You know, so it's really fun when you can find those super productive moderate cows that are going to kill that 1,450 pound steer. That's our goal. That's our goal. And so it's a unique mix of genetics with your cows and your sires that you choose to use.
Very good. No easy answers anymore, at least for some of the issues we face in the beef cattle industry, but the more we get together and talk things over, the better chance each of us have to grow and succeed.